Great.
We have
Doing well.
Dr. Scott Morris, and we have Sophie Mendelson here with us. Dr. Scott Morris is with UMSL, and Sophie, you were with Sugarwitch, which already sounds fun.
Yes. Yeah. Two great things coming together.
Well, and how should we kick off this conversation? I think we should really, if possible, Dr. Morris, talk about the program as a whole real quick and see how we got to this point in time.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. And call me Scott. You're going to make me squirm if you keep up with the Dr.
Now I
Morris
like
stuff.
you even more, Scott. I like you even more.
Yeah, I'm not the useful kind of doctor. No, the program is so great. Like we love it. We talk about it in as a kind of a three-legged stool. What we're really out about is we want to invest in local businesses to strengthen the local economy, create jobs. We want to educate those local businesses by putting them through our curriculum that's intended to help introduce them to scaling techniques, best practices for how to scale their business, and ultimately how to raise funds so that they can continue that growth. But we also incorporate our students. So our students are part of the program, and they will work for these wonderful founders like Sophie to help them do the inputs to build their business plan. And then we hope that, by strengthening Sophie's business, she can hire those interns, or we give them such relevant work experience that they'll be more qualified to start their careers, as they move on.
Well, and it really seems like such a symbiotic relationship, when it comes to this type of program, especially to get the students' involvement in this, where not only are you building their foundation, you're also, helping the prospective business. And I think that really showcases what, UMSL is really all about. I mean, we've, all come to know UMSL in some way, shape, or form, but to know it goes above and beyond that for the entire region is really what this will affect. That's great to know.
Yeah, thanks. That's exactly what we're trying to put together here is just raise all boats. If we help the local businesses, we ultimately end up helping our students, and then people like Sophie come back and support the program, and they help the next generation of founders come along.
So there's grants of $10,000, $20,000, and $50,000, correct, for this?
That's right.
And how are the winners chosen?
Yeah, so we invite in, we love to involve the community as much as we can. We invite in a panel of judges. These are all accredited investors. That I think we had 3 or 4 that had started their own business and sold their business. They had exits anywhere from like $30 million to $200 million.
That ain't bad.
So, these are very credible entrepreneurs that have had some success. We had representatives from the local banking community, Midwest Bank Center, Bank of America sent representatives. We had a representative from Arch Grant. So very qualified judges to come in and judge the pitches. And we're asking the judges to assess their readiness to scale. Like, is Sugarwitch a business that is ready for growth and that can handle the kind of material that we're going to, throw at them? And then ultimately, are they the kind of group that wants to take in investment dollars to grow their business and create all those local jobs?
It's so important. It transitions perfectly into Sugarwitch's involvement, but also, too, just touches on a really important point. We have the small business development centers on and have a lot of conversations with entrepreneurial programs and organizations. And sometimes I think as, a former business owner or myself, you think that you're ready for something and maybe ready to take that step. And just to be a part of that process and really learn what growth truly is and how much involvement there is with it, I think that's a great learning opportunity for anyone that applies to it. And that's a great thing going forward for upcoming opportunities for anybody to at least be involved and see what they need to do to be up to the par level of Sugarwitch.
Yeah, totally right. And we'll have the business plans reviewed by, these local bankers, by angel investors, by venture capitalists. So I'm not grading the business plan.
Right.
We're going to have real investors critique the business plan. So when Sophie leaves, she'll know what her preferred source of funding is and how far away she is from getting it.
It's incredible, truly incredible. And Sophie, Sugarwitch was awarded the $20,000 grant as the runner-up for most outstanding business. And, right off the bat, how does that feel, just knowing that, hey, you are being recognized for some really great stuff?
I mean, it's incredible to have that kind of external stamp of approval. We can get very sort of, tunnel vision in what
Yeah.
we're doing with day-to-day operations, just getting through the production list. But to have the chance to come and speak with the judges and get their feedback and listen to their questions and sort of the ideas that their questions spark already is hugely valuable. And so, yeah, it's really it's rewarding to know that there's sort of a pathway forward into greater growth down the road for us.
Well, and if it's okay, let's talk a little bit about Sugarwitch and what led up to that $20,000 grant. Take me through how Sugarwitch was founded, how, the origin story, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My wife and I founded Sugarwitch when we were grad students at Mizzou in 2019. We naively thought we'd have a lot of free time over the summer, which wasn't true, but ice cream was compelling enough to keep us going regardless. And so we got our start there. And then when we moved to St. Louis, we took it with us. We kind of kidnapped one of our friends from grad school to join the business with us. And so the three of us have sort of been navigating the way forward from there. We started out popping up around town, sharing kitchens, and just being a seasonal business. And then we found our way to a brick and mortar space. So we've been in full scale operation for the last 2 years.
Do you think having those stepping stones really helped you, for the long haul on this?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that just from sort of a psychological or emotional perspective, like it's such tremendous risk to start a business, and you don't know what you're getting into, and you don't know how people are going to respond to your product, and what it takes. Will it balance out? And so to have sort of these incremental phases where we could sort of get in a groove and then think about, okay, what's the next little step we can take, as opposed to having to see all the way through to, 10 years from now, what is this going to look like? Right. It's pretty, it's almost a non-starter to try to envision that. And so I think, yeah, anything that can get you like one step at a time with some real scaffolding is really helpful. And I feel like this UMSL program is for us that next step, that next piece of scaffolding.
Just incredible. I mean, truly is. And Sophie, before we keep talking a little bit more about this program, wanted to talk a little bit more about, Sugarwitch and just some of the backstory to this, because this is where I find it fascinating. There's so many spokes on the Sugarwitch wheel, and it really incorporates, I think, just in terms of philosophy and what you're trying to do for the region in terms of sustainability. I think this is such a well thought out, process. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I know that you are prioritizing local and sustainable agricultural projects. And let's take us through a little bit of Sugarwitch's philosophy in terms of business and sourcing and keeping things sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the graduate programs we were in when we started Sugarwitch were all food systems focused. And so that's everything we were thinking about. And we kind of viewed Sugarwitch as almost a lab for is it possible to sort of lay out these values and then find practical ways of meeting them, and what are the compromises you need to make, because you always have to make compromises and balance different competing interests. And so we've made it a priority to source as much as we can within our regional food system. So we interpret that pretty broadly within the Midwest, but we work with a farmstead aggregator that brings together different local farm products in Illinois, which is a great kind of program because it helps businesses like us not have to do the legwork of reaching out and building relationships with each individual farmer, but they're all coming together to make their products available to offer delivery into the city, which is huge for us.
Right.
Yeah, so we work a lot with them. We have goals for some of our staple products. That's, some of the harder stuff to source locally. That we're working towards. And then I think one of the perspectives that we brought with us from our time at Mizzou is, how do we look at labor as a part of this sustainability question? Because food system labor is happening all along that food chain. It's not just on the farm, it's our staff here at Sugarwitch. And so what does it mean to create food industry jobs in the city that enable people to sort of have a sustaining career that they're looking ahead to?
So
and we
important.
wanted to do that.
It's very important.
Yeah. We wanted to do that really specifically within our queer community. We're
Yeah.
queer owned and operated, and we're very vocal about that. And it has created this community for staff where there can be exchange of information and resource building, and just create this like really self-generated, affirming workplace culture, so that this like emotional and psychological aspect of what it means to go to work can be really sustaining and community generated.
Well, Scott, I think I know why Sophie did pretty well in this program.
Right? And you haven't even tasted or product.
No, I'm in.
Yeah, no, wait till you see the stuff that they're actually making and selling. Their whole team is so phenomenal, and she's got such a vision and such a great leader and such energy. It's like, how can you not, put this business into the accelerator, right?
Right. Well, and on top of that too, I mean, it is available right here in our own backyard. I always call us the heart of the 618 right here at Old Bakery Beer Company, in addition to some of the cafe small grocery stores throughout the region. But at Old Bakery Beer Company, Sugarwitch is available. This is great news.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just dropped off a delivery last week.
Did you really? So take me through, if you could, Scott, you hit on it perfectly, just some of the products, and it leads into the next thing. This isn't just your, ordinary ice cream sandwich here. There's a lot of different twists, turns, and some really cool stuff going on with this. Take me through some of your staple products real quick, Sophie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we focus on ice cream sandwiches. We like a constraint, so we gave ourselves that one. And I think it generates a lot of creativity when you have parameters to work within. So our flagship ice cream sandwiches, we use a really super fudgy brownie for many of them, and then make a really dense high butter fat ice cream to go in between and sort of give that structural oomph to the ice cream. So our classic is a vanilla sprinkle with salted brownie, but we try to do the classics, and then we try to do the twists as well. So we have a miso brown sugar ice cream and a milk chocolate chip blondie, and then we bring in all kinds of seasonal produce throughout the year, and our staff really have fun with coming up with new products. We do a staff spotlight each month where somebody gets to sort of work an idea with me to bring that sort of like a flavor memory or touchstone into reality, and those tend to connect so well with customers because, everybody has this sort of wealth of flavor memories to draw upon. And so when it's like, oh yeah, my grandma made peach ice cream and they're, sweet tea, and this is all coming together into an ice cream sandwich, that's really, really fun for us.
That's really incredible, honestly. And it goes back to the community that you're trying to foster and create. And I think that's a great way to kind of highlight that too. And, Scott, it also, I think, really showcases the program support for, local food business, because I think so many times, especially now, it seems like we're all kind of having more of a conversation about maybe what we're putting into our bodies. And I think that's very important to have, but to support something in a local front where that, there's a local mission on both the food side of things and the economic side, I think it really does showcase that your program's, initiative to really secure these.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing that we instruct the judges on, is to look for those businesses that have historically founders from historically underrepresented groups. We want to absolutely put a little wind in their sails, but we're looking for great products that have a real chance to do something. And Sophie meets all those criteria.
Well, and Scott, take me through some of the students' involvement and their thoughts on this. I think not a lot of people get an opportunity to really be a part of something to help it grow. I think a lot of us, when we join maybe our first job out of college, I know I did when I was at my first job out of college, I thought, is the good times already over for this? Did I join on the downtrend of things? And to be a part of growth, though, and really feel that excitement, that involvement, and really that team atmosphere, have you had those conversations with students?
For sure. And we get both undergraduate and graduate students that will take the course. And so, what I believe is that whether you want to own your own business or not, if you're entrepreneurial minded, this program, dead center bullseye, right? There's just no way around that. However, most of us, and I had a 30-year career before moving into academia, and I would describe myself as an intrapreneur, which means that I'm trying to transform or make differences in larger established companies. And so these skills that these students are learning are applicable either direction, whether you want to own your own business, it's 100%, applicable, and you're getting that deep experiential learning right there, face of the coal mine. However, if you're going to go, work for someone larger, you need to bring new ideas. That's the best way to get promoted faster. That's the best way to help your employer, strengthen their position. And so a lot of these skills translate, and we want to make sure to connect those dots for the students that you don't have to want to own a business for this to be applicable and relevant.
100% over. I mean, and I think too, it showcases too just how important these partnerships are in the St. Louis Metro East region, because so many times, when we maybe turn on the news on both sides of the river, we get a little bit, down over things we see, but we don't talk about these really great opportunities that are on the horizon, these great relationships that are formed, like with WEPOWER and the Arch Grants and with Schnucks. Scott, could you fill us in a little bit more on these collaborative partnerships and how they help the program and really just everybody overall?
Yeah, and in terms of being new to higher education, my background was in the private equity world.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, when I came into the program, UMSL already had an accelerator program that was in existence. But as I got to know the ecosystem, I just saw a lot of redundancy and a lot of overlap. And so what we were doing is just kind of putting these small businesses through a wash cycle. We're just sending them around in a circle, and we want to send them in a straight line, get them out the end of the funnel and into that next stage of growth. And so that's what I approached Arch and Schnucks and WePower about, is how can we partner so that we're not having the redundancies. And so they've sent us, in addition to, Sophie's in a group of 5, she's one of 5 businesses that won the UMSL Pitch Fest. But then we got another 7 businesses contributed from these other programs. We focus on, UMSL has the faculty, the alums, the physical space to really dig deep and focus on the education piece that these other programs, may not be as focused on. So what we'd like to do is just kind of pass the baton, help the businesses go from startup through scale up into, a round of investment and then into maturity. And we can do that best by partnering with the other programs. So this is the Arch Grants folks keep telling me this is step 0.5 in what we hope to be a longer process of kind of connecting the ecosystem together to ensure that we get these great businesses, to success.
100%. And Sophie, back to Sugarwitch, take me through some of the things that the team's learned that you've learned, through this last couple of months. And if you could be that kind of, I hate to say elevator pitch, but really just that message to anybody that maybe is looking into this, but maybe is a little bit nervous. Is this right for me? How much work is this going to be? Because this isn't, just a fly by night. I mean, this is intensive. Fill us in on that.
Yeah, so the process that we went through, so you write out the application. It's sort of like a grant application. So if you've ever done one of those, then it's nothing new there. You provide your information, you sort of detail your vision. And then for the pitch phase, I had never done a pitch before. And so, and neither had anybody on my team.
Did you practice? Did you have a pitch practice?
Sorry? Did
you have pitch practice?
We did. We sat around my kitchen table over the holidays and practiced this pitch again and again. And so, yeah, you put your slides together. I think the thing that we learned from the process is the critical importance of narrative. Like, you're not going to have time in those 5 minutes to give every detail of what you're doing. And hopefully your application did that for you. And so if you can put together a story that really demonstrates the vision, and then that's something that founders can speak to, right? Like, you don't have to memorize statistics. It's about what you're doing every day. And you're just sort of breathing life into it for the judges to get a little taste of that. And then from there, we'll find out. I'm so excited for the learning opportunities that are coming our way.
Well, and honestly, too, Sophie, it seems like you've just had a pretty incredible background in education yourself. Did you go to Yale?
I did, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've talked to an Ivy Leaguer before. Well, and, Sophie, whenever you were going through the initial steps of this, just to, before even knowing that you were going to be chosen, and you're talking about the pitch process, what were your thoughts? What did you want to get out of this, if selected, and have those been met?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what we were looking at was a very real sort of production barrier that we're facing with Sugarwitch. We're at this bottleneck where there's one phase of our process that is just so slow and so physically demanding that it's not possible for us to scale larger right now and meet the inquiries that we have for larger orders and larger wholesale accounts. But in order to finance that sort of level up, we need to scale. And so it's the sort of, catch 22 of how do you navigate that? And then when we started looking into this UMSL program, we realized that, we have the opportunity both to potentially access funding that could help us navigate this production bottleneck with the guidance and the mentorship to make sure that we really know how to make those dollars count and apply them most productively towards that desired growth. And so what we're really excited about and hoping for is sort of the opportunity to, with our mentor, figure out how we're going to apply these funds to get us making more and more ice cream in a way that doesn't reduce hours for our staff, but just redirects their efforts to things that are actually easier on the body, more efficient from a production perspective, and allows us to bring that much more ice cream forward.
Well, it's just incredible. And Scott, before I let you go, it's been a great conversation, both of you, and you're welcome back at any time. Sophie would love to hear more about the progress as Sugarwitch keeps growing and growing. And Scott, before I let you go, I mean, $160,000 in grants to local entrepreneurs. And I think that's such a big word right there, is the local side of things, because these are the folks that are going to be investing in our park and rec teams and being a part of those community drives and really being a presence there. And, as this is, already kind of, seems like run its course for 2025 in terms of applicants, what does 2026 look like? Have there been some talk already about it? I know that we're, it's 2024 still and we're still a ways away, but it seems like you guys never stop working and you're always planning ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's three ways to get into this year's cohort.
Oh, you can? Okay, great.
Yeah. So Sophie, has showed us the first path, which is participate in the UMSL Pitch Fest and get one of the grants. Mm-hmm. You can come through one of our partners, which is Arch, Schnucks, WEPOWER, or you can open enroll. So if you go to look up UMSL Entrepreneurship Certificate and you can open enroll, we offer the classes at our cost. You don't get the mentor or the grant, but you get all the other benefits. And so you take the same courses right alongside Sophie. But then the cycle will repeat next year. So we'll open up applications for Pitch Fest again around October 1st. They close around November 1st. And then, Pitch Fest will be in early December. And the next cohort number 6 will be start in January next year.
Just incredible. And seriously, both of you, thank you so much for your time. And Sophie, before I let you go, how can we follow along with Sugarwitch on social media?
Absolutely. We're at Sugarwitch EIC on all social media. So
really
that's
cool.
Sugar like the sweet stuff, witch like the Halloween kind, the letter I, the letter C.
Awesome.
Try the product, man. It is fantastic.
I'm going to Old Bakery. I'm going today or tomorrow. I'm excited about this. And like I said, thank you guys for your time today. It was really great to learn about this. And hopefully we got to all chat again here soon.
Thanks for having us, CJ.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
10:32 is the time on this Thursday morning. It is the 19th day of December in the heart of the 618. More of our daily show comes right around.